Two of India's Gaganyatris are likely to travel to the International Space Station on a joint Indo-US mission, a very big milestone in the relations between India and US. I have with me Dr. S. Somanath, Chairman of the Indian Space Research Organization. Dr. Somanath, happy that our astronauts will be going to the International Space Station as first steps for Gaganyaan.
Of course, yeah, it's a very important milestone in the progress of Gaganyaan.
And who have you chosen and why were they chosen?
See, we had 4 of them chosen for the Gaganyaan program. They were undergoing the training process for the flight in Gaganyaan. Meantime, this opportunity came as an offer of an Indo-US mission to International Space Station. So we have selected out of those 4, 2 of them to undergo the training program in US. And after that, once they go through the training program, one of them will be selected for the flight in the ISS mission, in the Axiom-4 mission. And the second one, person will remain as the ground spare, or rather standby backup astronaut for that mission. So this whole selection process went through an internal with an external membership committees, and they have selected the right people for this job.
Yes, you've chosen the youngest of your 4 astronaut designates.
Yes.
Was that a conscious choice because he has 20 years to contribute into the astronaut program or the Gaganyatri program for India?
See, I think they are anyway going to be there with us. It's ISRO for our future Gaganyaan program and possibly the continuation of the Gaganyaan missions. We also know that our Honorable Prime Minister has announced the continuation of Gaganyaan along with the building of space station, going to moon, etc. So it means that we need to have a pool of astronauts or Gaganyatris to continue this process. So they need to develop the knowledge, they need to develop the skill, and they need to become trainer of trainers and also help us to build the new architectural systems based on their experience. So currently we are only banking on the only astronaut we had, that Rakesh Sharma, and these people, the current astronaut designates for our design process. So they will be handy in when you scale up the new activities.
People are worried that thanks to this, and some people are already calling this mission Akash Ganga, this mission on SpaceX Falcon 9 using Crew Dragon going to the International Space Station. Will it help? Will it delay India's Gaganyaan, or that can go on simultaneously?
See, that both have no connection in terms of the progress of the work. Gaganyaan is a program which we are doing in India. The progress of it is very good as on today. Of course, it has some delays in the past. We are trying to make the unmanned mission this year, followed by subsequent 2 more missions leading to the the crewed mission. So that process is nothing connected with this mission to ISS. It is only in terms of qualification of various systems that we are yet to complete. So that will happen. And I believe that the mission to ISS will definitely add value to what we are doing in Gaganyaan, because we are only in the process of development of the first crew module and the service module for the Gaganyaan program, and all the protocols associated with the sending a human being to space, which we have no experience. So we bank on the training of these people. And when they go through another training, which they have already gone through a Russian model of training, once they go through a training in US, it will add more value to the overall process that we ourselves conceive. There are many things that we need to plan and do. It includes their preparation, their training, their suiting, their health monitoring, their measurements, even the features of the crew module, which all need to be there. So all these things comes out of the interaction between the Gaganyatri and our design engineers. So there will be a value addition to Gaganyaan through this process. Not actually a delay, but it will be an augmenting factor.
So we are using the best of the French through the medical mission.
Yeah.
We trained with the Russians and with the Americans. So 21st century, we are late in getting to human space flight, but leapfrogging. Is that correct?
I won't say late in the getting into
human space flight.
It is rather at the appropriate time things happen. So when the nation reached a certain threshold of technology capability, then only we go into that. It is not something that we need to do on an urgency. human spaceflight missions are such that it is a crucial capability that you have to develop at some point in time in the history of our space program. And I believe the time has come now for it to be captured and to have that capability. We are not delayed, in my opinion, and we are not too late also. So I believe it is the right time. And
So yahi samay, sahi samay?
always like that.
Wonderful.
And you also mentioned about the collaboration between different nations. I think this has been the hallmark of our program, space program, all the time. We have been working with all the stakeholders, the big players throughout our history of space program. And in human spaceflight program as well, this working together is happening. And it will be more possible in human spaceflight because it is something connected to the humanity. It is not just a technological prowess alone, it is more like with the human capability to travel to space. And here, internationally there is much more agreement on better collaboration. So many of them are coming forward to help each other to create the capability.
So are you happy that there will be an American, a Hungarian and a Polish in the same Crew Dragon flying to the International Space Station, a multi-racial, multinational crew?
It is always like that. International Space Station is characterized by the multinational crew always on board. And this is one place where Russia and America are meeting each other very friendly and working together. And they have been doing it in the past. In addition to people from many other nations who are not partners in ISS also travel to ISS. And this has been the characteristic of International Space Station, which is something extraordinary. And we would like to make use of that extraordinary platform for our benefit.
So what will our Gaganyatri do at the International Space Station?
Our prime Gaganyatri will be responsible as a pilot in the mission. So the purpose of this mission is to know how to travel in a spaceship of the modern class. I think we have to differentiate between the one in the Russian Soyuz versus the one which they are going to fly is the Dragon, which is one of the modern space capsule with its own features of interaction, measurements, the suit and things like that.
Correct.
And working in the International Space Station is another how to work with other astronauts. And once they go through the travel, the launch preparation, the travel, the docking, and after that they will do certain experiments. So these experiments on board will be worked out in due course because they are stayed during 2 weeks of time in ISS will be across many experiments. So the entire batch of 4 of them will be working on experiments. So our Indian Gaganyatri will be working on certain number of experiments, which we have identified as 5, which will contain certain already onboarded experiment in ISS and some of the new ones which we will be taking up. So this
are we sending some experiments from India which will be done there?
Yeah, it is like that. The current discussions are going on that type of model, as well as being part of some of the experiments already onboarded.
And will they do some outreach activity from there?
Definitely.
Sare jahan se acha?
I believe those things will be worked out in due course of time because definitely it has to be there because travel of an Indian astronaut up there has got an inspirational content.
40 years it has taken.
Yeah, it has taken that much of time.
Correct.
And this is the second opportunity that we are getting.
Correct.
And that in another half of the continent that we are making them to launch.
Correct.
So it is a very historic event when it happens. And definitely we must make use of that opportunity to connect with the people of the country.
See, the Indian Gaganyatris have been training using yoga. Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma was India's first Antariksh yogi. So will our Gaganyatris also do some training in yoga and also perform yoga at the International Space Station? There is a lot of space there. It's football field sized.
I think it must be possible because our Gaganyatris have been trained in yoga and they continue to do that type of exercises in the past or preparation. Mental, physical yoga is not just an exercise.
It is.
So those type of training they have gone through on ground. Definitely they will continue to do such a routine which they will develop in due course of their training period because it also has to do with the training and planning. It doesn't happen arbitrarily. I believe it will definitely be a part of that course of work that they will be doing on board. And also, in my opinion, it should never be for an show. It will be for certain measurements to see the pre and post effects of such certain yoga.
So physiological changes which may happen.
Measurements should be done. So which will add value to those aspects.
Sure. Now, we already have one Indian origin astronaut at the International Space Station in test pilot astronaut Sunita Williams, who's from America. And people have concerns that astronaut Sunita Williams is delayed because of issues on Starliner. As chairman ISRO, when our astronaut goes, does this weigh on your mind, and any message for people to assuage them that Sunita Williams may be safe?
See, I think we must understand, along with Sunita Williams, there are 8 more people there. And there are some astronauts already up there even before Sunita Williams reached
Correct.
there. So they are there for a long time, and they will continue to be along with them. So their plan of return was associated with some other missions which are yet to be scheduled. So the only question here of Sunita Williams is that she planned for only a week-long mission, and should have returned in the Boeing crew capsule, which they should have brought back.
The
But
Boeing
of course,
Starliner.
Starliner. So that got into some technical hitches. So they are up there, but they are at the safest place possible in space, that is International Space Station. So that means there is no concern for them. They definitely will be. There is a way to bring them back, either in Starliner or some other crew capsule.
Yeah, there's a Crew Dragon already there, and the Soyuz craft is already attached.
Yeah. But to bring it back, a already trained crew with certain specifications in one craft, switching is not easy. It has never been done before. So when such switching is done, there are technical issues to be addressed. Possibly that will be addressed by the appropriate people. But meantime, my belief is that they may delay it to make sure the Starliner becomes cleared for return and bring them back. That is my hope and expectation. Going by the way the things are going there, that is what I understand.
Yeah, because last when I heard from NASA, see, the hot test was done and they were analyzing the results and they were expecting to announce when they would come back. And in between, they have another Crew 9 mission going to the International Space Station. Yes. Now, what does the Akash Ganga mission mean for Indo-US relations, which is an Indian Gaganyaan traveling to the International Space Station?
No, this is something very, very phenomenal to happen after so many years. The first time that there is a possibility of a joint mission between US and India going to the International Space Station. This happened primarily because of the stature of India has changed over the many years in the space. We are no longer a traveler, but rather a co-traveler. That means with equal capabilities and strengths that we discuss on how to make this mission possible. So that, and while we are working on a human spaceflight program in India, we are doing it. It is also a different measure.
Correct.
When Rakesh Sharma went, there was no human spaceflight program. It was on a trip which was not adding any immediate value to us at that point in time. So when US is looking at us, yeah, here you look at India now developing a human space capability. Meantime, taking a person from India will only accelerate the process of doing Gaganyaan. Even then, under such circumstances, there is a possibility to travel. It is definitely a positive thing. That only indicates that these nations are coming closer to work towards achieving such strengths in India as well. So they don't see it as a threat, but they see it as a possibility of greater collaboration in the future. And we are only looking at that. This creates a potential cooperation in greater ways. For example, some of the Gaganyaan capability that we develop tomorrow will be a mission to ISS to bring back the crew, or maybe transport cargo or anything to ISS, or the new space stations that the US is envisioning. For example, Blue Origin is envisioning a new space station, and there are private space.
So is Axiom Space is also envisioning.
All of them are envisioning, but many of them are yet to define more of engineering detail. But we are hoping they will come into reality soon. And at that time, there is a potential of Indian partnership to do certain mission component for them. So this creates an opportunity not only of cooperation, but also a business opportunity.
So does it also open possibilities for India to not just sign the Artemis agreement, but to partner in the Artemis program at some point when both India and US see the capabilities as equal partners?
No, that will evolve over time. Right now, what we have done is we are part of the Artemis Accord, not as part of the Artemis Agreement.
Correct.
So with the Artemis Accord, we make sure that we have no bottlenecks in between for us to work on programs of this nature. So that's one of the important element of it. so that we use a joint capability to explore planetary systems or other outer objects, etc., in a cooperative manner. It's a very strong base on which to work on. To be part of the Artemis program is a different political decision,
Government has to take
which has to be taken at appropriate time. I think that still time is there to make a decision on it.
But it does open capabilities. You showcase your capability, you see their capability, so it opens a possibility.
But it has its own other implementation issues with respect to financials, the responsibility elements, etc., which is something to be discussed and concluded.
Now, this is a commercial mission. India is paying for it. So how much is it going to cost the Indian exchequer to send one Gaganyaan 3, train 2 of them and send one Gaganyaan 3 to the ISS and bring him back?
Such missions cost typically for any launches, satellite launches, a launch vehicle launches a satellite. We pay money for launching a satellite. It's similar to that. But the launch vehicles are of next higher grade. They are human rated. They will be little more careful in terms of manufacturing. So that definitely such a rocket will cost you more. And they are going to send in a Crew Dragon mission, Falcon 9 vehicle. Typical launch cost will be the cost of such a launch. Plus there is a launch cost also with the crew module, the 15 days spending time there and bringing back and the entire mission ground infrastructure. So this has to be shared between the 4 people. And some of them are the national crew of the US and some are other hosted crews. So this overall cost is shared between all.
How much will it cost us?
That I can't share right now, but I can only give to keep you understand about the total cost of this.
So ballpark figure if you can talk about. Is it hundreds of crores, thousands of crores?
Okay, it will be hundreds of crores, but never not thousands of crores.
But it is something which can be managed within the existing budget of ISRO?
Without that, we wouldn't have been taking such a measure to go.
Wonderful. Now, when they are there, if something goes wrong, what happens to the liability?
See, in such a wrong, I think let us not discuss such possibilities at this moment because those missions are yet to happen. And I believe that the mission will go very well and they will be able to come back at this moment. I don't want to discuss such topics.
Any message for youngsters who aspire to become Indian Gaganyatris, because you said you may have a larger pool?
Definitely. I think if you look at every young people, I think many of them aspire to become a space scientist and more aspire to become an astronaut in the future or a Gaganyatri in the future. I think this is an interesting thing to happen to a country which is on its path to a technological power. And these occasions give opportunity for inspiration. But more importantly is to show possibility that in India it is possible for us to even make things happen of this class of events to happen. It is just not the times when Rakesh Sharma went. Today when somebody goes, the overall awareness about it is much higher than what happened in those years, past years, 30, 40 years back. So this is a great opportunity we must capture to bring awareness in young people's minds, saying that if you really interested in science, technology, astronomy, astrophysics, or any science topics, becoming astronaut is just one of the channel, but there are many more things possible for each one of you.
So exciting time for ISRO, or this is now your outsourcing stuff?
I don't think this is nothing to do with outsourcing. This for us internally also we are significantly contributing or working on future programs. As you are aware, we are designing and developing new rockets of higher capacity.
Surya,
we are working on it. Everybody is into that engine design, the rocket design. On a day basis, I am with the young people discussing various possibilities. We are working on the space station architecture.
Bharatiya Antariksh Station.
Yes, Bharatiya Antariksh Station.
Will we do it by 2035?
We will have it our first launch in 2028.
Lovely.
The first piece, and the building will take place 28 to 35. This is our plan. So how to do it in 2028? This is a topic of hot discussion today. What type of technologies we should bring in? What type of strategies we must have not to miss such schedules. So this is one element of it. So it's and many future missions to Moon, Chandrayaan 4, and next series of them. So we are almost completed the initial phase of design, and exciting time inside.
So when do we expect the Gaganyaan 3 to travel to the International Space Station? What is the time frame?
Gaganyaan is to travel to International Space Station.
Our own astronaut,
Our own astronaut to go to...
Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, when does he travel as the prime
My
candidate?
understanding is that 2020, this year, they will go through start the training program. Next year, middle to end, they should be able to go.
And they will spend one fortnight there.
That's the plan, yes.
Thanks a lot for speaking to me, Dr. S. Somanath. Always a pleasure learning so much about the Indian space activities from you. And I wish luck to our Gaganyatris as they travel to the International Space Station. And we're going to have that after 40 years after Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma went, and he told me he's blessing those astronauts from here and helping in the program. So thanks a lot for speaking to us. With camera person Azam Siddiqui in New Delhi, Pallav Bagla for NDTV.